Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard, and today we're talking about a character who didn't just redefine himself, he helped redefine an entire corner of comic book storytelling. Because when people talk about street level comics, one name always comes up: Daredevil. Not the flashiest hero, no cosmic power sets, no billion-dollar tech empire. Just a blind lawyer with a busted moral compass, a Catholic guilt complex the size of Hell's Kitchen, and a city that never stops testing him. Over the decades, Daredevil comics have become the blueprint for gritty, grounded, street level storytelling, influencing Batman, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Jessica Jones, and pretty much every urban crime superhero that followed. So today, I'm going to break down 10 Daredevil comics that changed street level storytelling, in my opinion. These are stories that proved superheroes could be noir, tragic, political, psychological, and brutally human. So let's dive in. And we're going to start with Frank Miller's original run. This is Daredevil 168 through 191. Frank Miller didn't just take over Daredevil, he reprogrammed what a street level superhero book could be. Before this run, Daredevil was a fairly standard Marvel hero: colorful villains, straightforward morality, and episodic crime fighting. Miller stripped all that down and rebuilt the book using noir crime fiction, samurai cinema, and hard edged urban realism. So some of the key innovations in this book was are Elektra wasn't just a love interest; she was a living consequence of Matt's choices. Kingpin was transformed from a bombastic Spider-Man villain into a calculating crime lord whose power came from influence, not fists. Violence became ugly, fast, and consequential. Most importantly, Frank Miller shifted the focus inward. Hell's Kitchen wasn't just a setting, it was a pressure cooker. Crime felt systemic, not random. This run became the DNA for modern street level storytelling across both Marvel and DC. Next up, we have Daredevil Born Again, also by Frank Miller. Born Again is arguably the most important street level comic ever published. Instead of attacking Daredevil physically, Kingpin weaponizes information. He uses Matt's secret identity to destroy him legally, financially, and emotionally, proving that true power doesn't wear a costume. Well, what made this particular run revolutionary? Well, Matt loses everything without throwing a punch. The story confronts addiction, homelessness, and mental collapse. Government corruption and media manipulation play as big of a role as supervillains. This comic showed that street level threats aren't cosmic, they're bureaucratic, political, and deeply personal. Born Again taught creators that superheroes could face the same crushing forces as real people and still rise. Next up is Daredevil Love and War, also by Frank Miller. Look at this pattern here. So Love and War is Daredevil as psychological horror, largely told through Kingpin's internal monologue. This graphic novel examines obsession, control, and emotional abuse, particularly in his relationship with Vanessa. The art rejects traditional superhero visuals. It distorts faces, chaotic compositions, and has uncomfortable textures. This book mattered because it proves street level storytelling could be abstract and emotional, not just plot driven. It opened the door for comics that prioritized mood and psychology over action, a crucial step toward mature, character-focused narratives. Next up, we have Daredevil number 226 to 233, also known as The Fall of Kingpin, again by Frank Miller. This story flips the power dynamic and the moral equation. Instead of Kingpin destroying Daredevil, Matt dismantles Kingpin's empire piece by piece using manipulation, intimidation, and emotional welfare. The brilliance here is the aftermath. Daredevil wins, Kingpin is broken, and yet Matt feels empty. Street level storytelling often lives in morally gray areas, and this arc made that unavoidable. It challenged the idea that defeating evil automatically equals justice, influencing decades of vigilant narratives that followed. And next up, we have Daredevil, Guardian Devil by Kevin Smith. Gotcha. Guardian Devil brought Daredevil into the modern Marvel spotlight. Kevin Smith leaned heavily into Matt's Catholic faith, framing the story around temptation, belief, and divine punishment. Whether readers loved or hated the execution, the intent mattered. And why this changed things? Well, because faith became a psychological battleground, not a background trait. Celebrity creators elevated street level books into prestigious territory. Emotional devastation replaced shock and all action. This comic proved street level heroes could anchor event level storytelling without needing cosmic stakes, only emotional ones. And next we have Daredevil Yellow by Jep Loeb and Tim Sale. Daredevil Yellow is quiet, and that's why it's powerful. Framed as a letter Matt writes to Karen Page, the story recontextualizes his early days through the lens of grief and hindsight. Tim Sale's soft, nostalgic art contrasts sharply with the pain beneath the surface. Its impact on street level storytelling emphasized emotional memory over plot mechanics. It showed that reflection can be as compelling as action, and it validated vulnerability as a storytelling strength. This book helped legitimize introspective, character first superhero stories. And next, we have Daredevil Volume 2, number 26 through 50 by Brian Michael Bendis. This run is where street level comics fully embraced crime drama realism. Bendis applied procedural storytelling techniques like long arcs, conversations that mattered, consequences that stacked instead of resetting. Alex Malev's art grounded everything in shadow, grit, and realism. The looming question, does the world know Matt Murdock is Daredevil? It created sustained tension unlike anything before it. This run directly influenced Marvel's Netflix aesthetic. It decompressed storytelling norms and the modern TV season comic structure. And next, Daredevil Volume 2, number 82 through 119, written by Ed Brubaker and art by Michael Lark. Brubaker asked what street level comics rarely dared to ask. What happens after the hero gets caught? Matt goes to prison, surrounded by criminals he put away. There are no easy answers, no heroic loopholes, just survival, guilt, and identity erosion. This mattered because it explored incarceration from inside the system. It forced Matt to confront the limits of vigilantism and it treated crime as cyclical, not solvable. This run solidified street level storytelling as systemic critique rather than crime of the week fiction. And next, Daredevil, Volume 3 by Mark Waid and Paulo Rivera. At first glance, this run looks like a tonal reboot. Brighter colors, humor, classic superhero vibes. But that brightness, it's a mask. It's a mask for depression, PTSD, emotional avoidance. Matt's humor becomes a coping mechanism, not a personality trait. This run expanded street level storytelling by proving darkness isn't the only path to depth. Mental health can be explored through contrast. And the last one on my list today is Daredevil Volume 6 by Chip Zdarsky. Zdarsky's run is the ultimate evolution of street level philosophy. After an accidental death, Matt grapples with whether vigilantism itself is ethical. This story integrates legal responsibility, moral absolutism, and whether heroes should exist outside of the law. Chichetto's cinematic art grounds everything in realism, making each punch feel heavy and each choice irreversible. This run doesn't just tell a Daredevil story, it asks, should Daredevil exist at all? Making it the definitive modern street level blueprint. So Daredevil didn't just evolve with comics, he pushed them forward. Street level storytelling exists because Daredevil comics prove that cities matter, trauma lingers, and heroes don't always win clearly. And maybe that's what makes them worth reading. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What are your favorite Daredevil stories? Which one changed how you see street level comics? Until next time, I am Chip Hazard. This is Movement Radio. Keep nerding out.